Hi, I'm Chad from Chad DIY. In today's video, we are going over the top 3 laser cutter models XTool has to offer. We're going over the P2, the F1, and the S1. So let's get started. Now I know the world of laser cutters can be a little confusing as you see these 3 models, the P2 and the S1 kind of look similar, but there are definitely some differences. And then you have the F1 that is totally different, very small and portable. So I'm hoping by the end of this video, you'll be able to kind of make an informed decision if you're looking to buy one of these machines and which one's going to be right for you. So first we're going to dive in on the XTool S1. We'll kind of work our way down the line, going over some pros and cons, and hopefully you can really get a great idea of the differences in the machines and also maybe some of the similarities. So this is the XTool S1. Now this is the most recent model that's been released by XTool, and I have to say I really love it. This is one of the first diode laser machines that you get in that full enclosure, which before you had the option of all the open frames. So I first started off in my laser cutting journey with the XTool D1 Pro. I had the 10 watt and the 20 watt, and they're nice machines, but what you had to do is you had to build basically an entire enclosure to capture all the fumes and extract that. What XTool has done with this S1 is it's all included in that package. So you get the full enclosure, you get the air assist that is integrated with it. You also get the protective, you don't have to wear your goggles anymore. You get that protective glass, which is amazing. And you get that exhaust built in. So what you had to do basically for those open framed machines, you couldn't just start off with those open frames. You had to build that enclosure and everything. With this, it's just ready to go right off the bat. Now one of the really cool things about this S1 machine is you can get different laser modules for it. Now I have the 40 watt module for it. You can also get a 20 watt version, and they also have a 2 watt infrared version. Now with that 2 watt infrared version, you are going to be able to engrave metal. Now none of these versions really allow you to cut metal. That's not what these machines really are about unless it's super, super thin. But the IR version, you really can do some nice engravings on metal. Now the machine I do have is the 40 watt version. Now the 40 watts is going to give you a ton of power. You're getting close to the CO2 version power. Not quite there, but you do have a lot of power there, so you can run at some pretty good speeds. And the faster speeds you do, especially for cutting, you're going to get cleaner cuts. So the more power, the faster you can go, the cleaner the cuts. It's really a win-win. Now this S1 does come with some nice accessories. I do have the riser base. You're going to want the riser base for doing any rotary stuff. So I have the rotary inside here for doing tumblers and stuff. But the riser base is always also great for doing boxes or anything kind of higher up. It's got a full pass through here, so you can slide material. The back does the same thing. And it also comes with a conveyor belt system. So if you have this kind of sideways, you can do that conveyor belt and you can feed those long boards through and get big welcome signs, and it really gives you a good opportunity to do a bunch of different things. Now overall, this S1 is a terrific machine, but it does have a few limitations. First off, it does not have a camera system. Now at this price point, I don't know if you really expect to get a camera system. It does have a nice dual point positioning system that works really well. I've done a video on that, just that specific feature, but it doesn't have the camera, which I know a lot of people did want. To me, the laser system it does have with the dual point and also just the laser that shines down, it's pretty easy to line everything up. So it's not a huge knock, especially at that price point, but it's just something to be aware of. Also with the diode laser, like any diode laser, you're not going to be able to do clear acrylic. Now these machines do colored acrylic very well. They also do wood, leather. There's a huge variety of things you can do. I got the tumblers here, so you can kind of laser off that powder coated material, you get down to the metal. Or if you do opt for that 2 watt IR laser, you're going to be able to actually engrave into metal, which is really cool, but just a few points to be aware of. Now with that being said, I really think XTool is targeting the hobbyist market and also someone who wants to at least dip their toes in the small business market, especially like a machine like this, doing tumblers, Christmas ornaments. There's a really huge variety that I think you could definitely do and make money off of it. I also think just having it in a shop, not being worried about paying for this machine or just having fun with it, I think it's also a great use just in that. So overall, my recommendation, definitely if you're looking for your very first laser cutter machine, this is the machine to get. I know a lot of those open frame machines are tempting. You look at the price and it's like, oh, I could save a lot of money doing that open frame. But really by the time you build the enclosure, you add all those add-ons that you really need for a laser to make it efficient and safe, because you don't want to be looking at that laser beam, so you got to wear your goggles if you don't have this shield here. But with all that is included in the S1 for that price point, it's really hard to go wrong. So I will provide links to all these machines. It's hard to talk about exactly how much they cost because XTool provides a lot of sales and doing YouTube videos that kind of go on forever. It's hard to say, oh, it costs this when you might watch this in a month and it doesn't cost that exact same price. So check out the links for the exact price at the exact time. All right, now that we covered the S1, we're gonna move on over to the F1. Now this is the XTool F1 dual laser machine. Now this kind of has best of both worlds where it has a built-in dial laser as well as that IR laser. Now as we just talked about the S1 over there, that you can get different modules, but you're gonna have to switch them out each time. This one, the two lasers are just built right in. Now, as you can see, this thing is pretty small, but that is on purpose because this thing is ultra portable. With the small size, you can kind of take it anywhere. It also runs off very little wattage, so you can just use a battery power supply to run this, and it's ideal for running craft shows. Also, with the portability and the low handle, you can turn it on the side. You might have seen some of those videos where it's engraving pumpkins or whatever, but you just kind of slide this up. It has this pop-out tray here, and basically you can lift it up. You can engrave pretty much on anything with the portability of this machine. Now, two of the great add-ons to this machine is, although it does have a pretty small size, it is perfect for, you know, doing a single coaster. We have slate coasters. Also with the IR laser, you can do metal, this kind of metal business cards or whatever. But they also make, as I grab it over here, an extension table. So you can kind of hook that on. So this really expands how much work you can do in one laser engraving session. Now with the slide table, you can load up multiple coasters. You can kind of start them off. And instead of just doing one, having swap out constant, you can load up your tray with them and just kind of let it go. Also, another accessory you can add to this is a smoke purifier. Now this purifier is kind of meant strictly for the F1, and you can hook it up, it's integrated. So as soon as you start this F1 on an engraving or cutting, this purifier kicks in and you really can't smell anything. This is the most indoor friendly I think I've ever used laser cutter, where all these you can extract out to, you know, the outside, which that's kind of the point of it. But this, you don't need a window or whatever. You can just put it on your desk, and especially with engraving, it's gonna just suck up all those fumes. You're gonna be able to use it indoors, no problem. Now personally for me, the target market for this F1 is going to be business owners. The ability to do metal or coasters or anything like that really puts it a step above a lot of the other lasers that are on the market, and also the portability just can't be beat. You can literally pack this thing up in a specially made suitcase for it, keep it protected, head to that craft show, and just start making money. Also adding in that smoke purifier, you're not going to be blowing fumes on other booths, so it just really adds into that ultra portability effect of it. Now this definitely is a specialty type of laser cutter. It's not going to be for everyone. A lot of people are going to want that bigger surface area, but if you're basically into engraving small things, especially engraving metal, jewelry like this, it's really hard to beat this XTool F1. Now with that being said, we're going to jump over to our final machine, the XTool P2 laser. So let's check that out. All right, so we saved the best for last. Here we have the XTool P2 CO2 laser cutter engraver. So this is the flagship model for XTool. It has all the bells and whistles. It's their only CO2 version of the model. So basically you have dial lasers, you have IR lasers, you have CO2 lasers. So you kind of have like the three different types. But this is their only CO2 laser, and it's the 55 watt model. Now what you're going to get from that CO2 laser is you're going to get incredible cutting speeds, you're going to get nice clean cuts, and you're also going to have the ability to cut through any type of acrylic, even clear. This is also the only XTool model that includes a camera system. Now those camera systems really are amazing. It speeds everything up so quickly. You can throw a piece of material down, take a picture, line it up in the software, and you're ready to cut and engrave right away. Now the system kind of uses a 2-camera setup where right away you're going to get a nice kind of wide angle view of your material. That's going to give you a really good idea of where to, you know, place your settings and everything. But it also has a camera that's going to slide in right in place. You can lock it in. And you maybe have seen videos of people engraving like a grain of rice. That's how fine detail you can get on this machine. Now some of the main accessories you're going to have for this P2 is the riser base. Now I don't have a riser base for this. I have the riser base for the S1. That's where I do my tumblers. But you can definitely do the riser base setup with this, do the tumblers, as well as you have that conveyor system option as well for the P2. So similar to S1, this is going to have built-in air assist and smoke extraction. Now the S1 does have, the air assist is actually kind of separate. I know I refer to it as integrated. Which I mean by that is the computer can control the air assist. You don't have to actually turn it on by hand, but it is a separate box. This, it's all built into the machine. This machine also has an extra safety feature where when you're making a cut or engraving, you shut that lid, it locks in place, you can't even open it. You can see through the top what's going on, but just a little extra layer of security where if you have kids or something, like no one's, I don't know, opening up the lid and kind of getting into it while the machine's doing what it needs to do. Now it's really hard to talk about cons with the machine. It's such an amazing piece of equipment. I love it. But if there were a few cons, it is with the CO2 you are dealing with. I have antifreeze in there. I have this out in my shop, which kind of can get cooler in the winters. So you kind of have a mixture of water and antifreeze when you're setting this machine up. It also has mirrors, which sometimes you might need to clean or align. So there's a little bit more, I don't know if you say maintenance compared to a dial laser. Dial lasers, there's not much to do with them. So there's a little bit of that, but the pros, in my mind, definitely outweigh the cons with a machine like this. Now, I definitely think the target market for this machine is also business owners, kind of like the F1. Now, they do include a package for the P2 and the F1. You can kind of bundle them together. I know people, if they're kind of going all in on a laser business, you're going to want both those machines for your craft shows, and then you have the P2 to kind of crank out a bunch of cuts and engraving at home, getting ready for that. Now, the speed of use with that camera system also has that batch feature where you can throw a bunch of things on and the software will recognize it and you can kind of throw your engravings and all these things that are kind of scattered all around. Just the speed of use for that is running a business off this. It's really hard to beat that quality that you can do with this machine. So overall, if you are thinking about starting that business, I highly recommend this P2. Now, I don't have any experience with some of these other machines. Glowforge, I know, is a big one. You also get the great big OhmTech machines that the price is kind of attractive on those as well, but big old footprint. I don't know. I think there's a lot of pros to having this desktop setup as far as just the kind of not portability of it, but the space that it takes in an area. Pretty small footprint for what you get. Now, if you do have any questions on these machines that I talked about, just leave them in that comment section below. I try really hard to respond to all those comments. And if you're interested in purchasing any of these machines, I will provide my coupon code and my affiliate link so you can save some money with that coupon code. If you're buying one of these machines, it doesn't cost you any more. You can save money. It helps out my channel. I get a small commission, I guess you will, for all those sales. So I really appreciate it. That helps out the channel. So as always, I'm Chad from Chad DIY. And we'll see you on the next one.